We might have a franchise. Let's review Influencers. Influencers stars Cassandra Naud, Georgina Campbell, and is directed by Curtis David Harder.
What is this?
I don't even know her.
She's manipulating you.
What did you do?
She's been playing you this whole time.
What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2025 review. We're going to review Influencers. I'm going to be very careful about spoilers in this review, although it is spoiler free, but I think I'm going to go extra far because this movie, it doesn't really tell you where it takes place. The actual poster says we all start somewhere. Also, big shout out to my buddy Jason from Sinister Cinema Reviews. We had a little conversation. I texted him, said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and review Influencers because the embargo isn't until December, and by then I will have forgotten about the movie. Not that the movie's not good or anything, that's just how my mind freaking works. So many movies filter through this freaking noggin of mine that even the good ones are forgotten about if I wait too long to review them. So right now we are in the middle of November, and this will not come out until I think the week that this comes out in December. Okay, so yeah. But a little backstory, I'm really a big fan of Influencer, the movie that came out a couple of years ago. And you know what? Thinking back on it now, after watching this movie, this is a unique little franchise because there's really nothing like it as far as, like, you know, franchises go and sequels go and whatnot. And I think this is set up to be a pretty cool little franchise just because of how unique it is. You know, there's plenty of thrillers out there and whatnot, but this one's a very distinct one, and the main character here, played by Cassandra Naud, Catherine, is highly interesting and always like two steps ahead of everyone else, right? And I do think there's a lot about Catherine, or she goes by CW in the first movie, because she constantly changes her name throughout because she's a freaking murderer. But yeah, there's a lot about her that we don't necessarily know, and I think that could be even explored further down the line if they wanted to. But let's dive into this review, and real quick, please subscribe to the channel. I want to get to 100,000 subscribers. I need your help to do that. Would love to do it by the end of 2026. So be a part of something. Let's make this happen. So Cassandra Naud, she plays CW. IMDb is saying CW, even though in this movie she does go by Catherine. That's one of her many aliases. In this particular movie, she is in this relationship. It seems to be very, very serious. And for a good portion of the first act of the movie, even if you don't know when exactly this movie takes place, you still don't fully trust her. She seems to be holding things back, heavily guarded from her girlfriend Charlotte, played by Georgina Campbell. And if you watched the first movie, you'll remember that there's a title card that you have to wait a good maybe like 20 minutes. It's almost like at the end of the first act of the first movie, there's a title card. So much so that you forget that there hasn't been a title card. So when it comes up, you're like, oh, okay, now we got our title card. There's a few movies that have done this. The Friday the 13th remake, probably the most famously. Well, this movie right here is no exception. They do it again. They get through the end of the first act, so that lets you know that something big happens at the end of the first act, and then we get our title card, and then we are off and running. Notice I'm being very, very careful about what I tell you in this movie. Now, Influencer took place in Thailand. Influencers takes place in France. There are some interesting characters in this movie. Jonathan Whitesell, he plays Jacob. He is this, I guess, streamer, entrepreneur, lives in this freaking glorious mansion. He streams outside, right, you know, in front of his pool, living the lavish life and whatnot. And I like that this movie sort of plays around with the I guess the streaming world, because streaming is so big these days. But this character, he is just so full of himself, very egotistical. You know, he's the character that you can't wait for him to get his, right? He's just very, very arrogant. But eventually he is confronted with Catherine, and I think this is where the movie really, really takes off, because I think from this point on, something happens and then she's on the run. And she always has to try to stay two steps ahead of everybody that's trying to come after her. And luckily, this guy isn't the smartest. And yeah, you might say he's smart because he's rich and he's been successful. So he's, I guess, smart in that lane. Because of his egotistical nature, it's served him well. But I think there are people that outside of their lane take like musicians for instance. They're dumber than a box of rocks. It does happen. And that's sort of the way this character is. You know, we've seen this character a million times in movies recently. He's just got the entourage behind him. He's got the girlfriend that he treats like crap. And he's sort of met his match with Catherine. If you remember Catherine in the first movie, she definitely uses her seductive powers to get her way with things, and it doesn't really matter the gender. That's what's cool about these influencer movies. There's definitely like a sexual nature to them, kind of a femme fatale, I guess you could say. And she plays to her strengths. She's that type of character. And when you have a very attractive woman, and you got a guy that's kind of a moron, she can use those skills against him. And that's part of the fun of these influencer movies, is just watching Cassandra Naud, work her magic. She does a really good job as this character. You can tell that she really enjoys playing this character. She's just fun. It's a really fun character. These are really cool movies. You know, just fun to watch, I guess. I say fun too much. Now, there's another character that is pivotal to this movie that I want to give you a mild spoiler warning before I go any further, even though this isn't technically spoilers, because it doesn't have anything to do with the last act, so to speak, because this character does come into the movie pretty early, okay? But I'd say from here, if you want to know nothing about this movie, and the reason I'm saying it is just because of the way it's marketed, where you don't really know if it takes place before or after the previous movie. I just want to give you guys that warning, okay? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, going forward here. I don't think this will take away from your enjoyment of the movie, even if you do know it, but I just had to give you guys that courtesy, okay? So anyway, yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. So the character Madison from the previous movie, played by Emily Tennant, she is in this movie. And since I already gave you the spoiler warning, I will tell you this is a sequel, okay? It's not a prequel. And the reason you know that is because Madison comes into the picture eventually. And she has survived from the island, and she finds out that Catherine is out there. She finds out that she's in France. And so then she's on a mission to find her and to stop her once and for all. And I think once Madison comes into the picture, that's where this movie really, really takes hold. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. So jumping into the pros of this movie, if you like the first movie, then you will like the second movie. It's hard for me to tell you which one is better. They're both just so similar in nature as far as quality goes. And these movies look like they had a budget behind them because of the locations that they take place in, one of them being in Thailand, the other one here being in France. I love when a thriller movie like this, it's not just in one location. I mean, yeah, I love those type movies as well, but this one, it just feels very broad and open, and this is a character that can go anywhere. That's the fun of Catherine. And it's always fun to watch her being 2 steps ahead of everybody and almost being caught and touching on current technology. You know, the title's The Influencer. The first movie was more about like Instagram and Madison being this influencer, and Catherine kind of being the opposite of that, stating that I don't like being in front of the camera. And then eventually we found out why she didn't like being in front of the camera. But Madison's the opposite of that, you know. And if you go on Instagram and you see these people with millions of followers, you get the feeling that they can't go freaking 20 minutes without taking a picture being in front of the camera. And that's the way Madison was. So it was a lesson that she learned throughout that movie. So these movies are very much now, which is really cool. So this one takes it even further and it touches on like the whole AI trend that's going on right now. And, you know, Cassandra using that to her advantage. And you can see how useful of a tool AI could be, especially in terms of like trying to stay hidden, being able to find locations a lot quicker than maybe before. And I liked all the characters in this movie, especially Jacob, the streamer douchebag. He was just a fun character to watch. I think Jonathan Whitesell did a really good job of tapping into this type of character. I think there's a lot of inspiration to draw from for a character like that. We see tons of those type characters on social media. So yeah, just a really fun movie. As far as any cons, I will say there's a moment in the movie that just kind of went too far. I won't spoil where it takes place. You'll know when you get there, but you just feel like, was this really needed? Did they need to go this far? It's a little bit over the top, a little bit cartoony, right? So I think they needed to kind of pull back, and I see what they were trying to do. They were trying to, like, you know, I guess go over the ledge, so to speak. And again, I just didn't think it was necessary because the story was just really interesting and engaging up to that point. But still, I probably liked this movie just as much as I liked Influencer. It was a blast to watch, and I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on it. And I want another movie. I think this could be a franchise, which is really cool. So I'm giving this purchase worthy for sure. Let me know what you guys think of Influencers when you see it. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe to the second channel, Drumdums Xtra, where you can get like the live stream clips from like Hit the Bricks and whatnot, drum boxes, all kinds of other out-of-the-box type stuff. Come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. On Fridays, we do FIFA Fridays. Follow me Drumdums on my social support, my Patreon. Become a channel member. Buy me coffee. You know, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Drumdum out.